Welcome to the very first episode of the very first number uno.
Numero uno.
Guide for an African Gen Z. So the basis for this show is we want to talk about the things that are affecting the youth, people who are young adults that are not usually talked about, so that we can explore that space together, discover the different things that are there, and also teach each other as we go along. So today I'm with my usual and regular guest. Introduce yourself, sir.
Well, you can just call me the Punisher.
The Punisher?
Yeah, I'm Prince Muta, but the Punisher would do. Kumazibanga brandi. Kumazinyadira.
First one, offending different characters. Different characters.
That means I'm hardcore.
You're punishing people. I am.
Your man is having a soul, so
it's good vibes, man. Good vibes. So tell me about yourself, man. What do you do?
Well, first of all, I'm fine. Thank you for asking.
Man, you look fine. Look at the health of your hair.
Okay, is this if I don't come on my work? That's where I'm going.
If you swear, that's swear.
So basically, I'm a journalist.
Okay.
Language in Spanish, soy un periodista. Soy un periodista.
Amarelo.
Ndine tolankhani. Komanso maphunzitsa atolankhani. Umiji. Ken Blanter.
That's dope.
Malembaso nthawi zina mu newspaper mwapo ndi apo. Timapanga so ka programu kena kukuzananiza malo tumene kuti real estate talk MW.
Okay.
Timapanga so nili podcast yanga.
Oh, is it?
Real issues, whereby timajita so focus on the issues that are happening out there. They don't really make it in the mainstream media. So timagamba my issues are
why did you bring that up? I mean, why did you think about that particular subject? You could have picked up anything you wanted, right? You could have talked about sports or...
No, it's broad. I believe that there are a lot of issues that are affecting people out there, but then they don't really make it in the mainstream media. And some as it can be done. So it's like media imakuza is many and what media wakufuna kuti move. Not necessarily as many iniwe mugwena kumva. So I'm doing it the other way around.
Okay.
And who azimva zimene akwenena iwo amve azitiuza tizikambirana.
Okay.
So not necessarily kuti I should just be imposing. We call that agenda setting theory.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's deep.
Media ni theory ambili baba. So we call it an agenda setting theory, whereby the media is telling people zintozoti the people should think about. So I'm doing it the other way around.
That's deep.
The people should should suggest the things that they want to hear, and then we should talk about them, the things that are affecting their lives.
So I'm guessing you're looking at it from a more result-oriented sphere, whereby you're saying, okay, not just talk about it, but also look at solutions for things that may not look like they're a global issue or a big issue in Malawi, but they're actually affecting a lot of people.
Exactly. I'm looking at the ownership of Zinredi, and was on so let's talk about these things. So
that's deep. So I'm guessing you guys have got a YouTube page, right, for the real issues?
Yeah, the real issues. It's there on YouTube and it's also on Facebook.
Okay.
Yeah. So I like even the concept of this podcast. Yeah, and I'm honored to be here, man.
You're my first guest, man. Like literally, you have to feel very honored.
you come to mind as well.
I definitely should. I definitely should.
Yeah. But I know you also meet problems in your life. Unless if you're not human.
I mean, I am very interested. I don't mind having a different conversation. So, invite me. I'll come through.
Yeah, you should.
Yeah,
you should.
But then I think the one thing that I actually wanted us to talk about is the new movie that just came out. School Days.
School Days.
Pedro I say.
Pedro Chuga.
I say. How was the movie? How do you feel? How do you find it? How was it for you?
The movie is good. It's good in a way that somebody can easily relate. The experience many muntu alinayo ya ku school, especially and holding in anali ku boarding. For my issues, I mean, imagitika chatizi the bullying itself. Imagine one minute boarding school. I'm sure I'm not boarding,
But taonako tatu timasession
munatizidwapo
bwana kangare in mnazonako because I believe there's always that one tease, you know, that one tease that you never forget. Ineno inaliona
tease moze of course but nezambiri kukwezedwa njinga kuvina kwa ito kutima ochitala mutimali tini twamzivina kwa ito chani chigayo sugar mutazingoliza chigayo muntu uzingotira sugar zotero zokuma. One thing that I recall kwambiri that first day yaineyo tafika ku St. Patrick's kunzedi boys
chauko kuntunda
so that's where I was. Some guy, I remember his name, Davy Chatata. Another Form 4. You know, of course, the time I was going to St. Patrick's, I was in Form 2. So, I Form 2. So, Dave came to my dorm and anandibasa assignment yoyambirira. Ndiloweze dzina lake. Ndikati dzina lake twamwene. First name, maniki name wake angati, ndi surname yomwe. So, anandiuza kuti andipeza ikatha prep azandifunsa ndikalephera ndikuti simene sindikona. So I remember ku prep unali ndikungoloweza zina la munthu amene zina lake lonse nali Dave Tycoon Scavenger Slazenger Sebakusi chisulo cha mazinga mpata tegumula ndi usinini Chatata. That was the first tease that I encountered. Kuma, I mean, eventually we became friends after some time and he was a cool guy. In Munati Zidamota.
So in experience I got tease, I think it's I didn't really go through the hardest. I think thinking about it, I was talking to some people, but I think teasing has started to reduce over generation to generation.
Yeah, it has.
Because when you get to that secondary school, you'd find my guys up from Forge, my cousins, guy, you know what I'm getting into this, you know. If you're not going to be and you'd actually hear the stories. But you actually, when you hear the stories of the things that they had to actually do it, you could see their tease was way more aggressive, right? It was extreme, like it was very, very extreme. So over time, even right now, if you can agree with me, secondary school, because life has sort of gotten soft. It's not easy. I'm not trying to like belittle it, but it's not as extreme as it was probably when you and I were in school.
And this so mwina taunazoti zam film zaji napelezija mwina za chepas. Wantu ena mata kupanga za extreme kwambi school. I heard of a case whereby I don't know how true this is. Ndangomva kuti ena namutiza mwana mpaka nakamwika muchi I've
heard about that. So there's been several situations whereby people have actually died because of bullying.
School.
Very true.
But the funny thing is, most of the people tease in my school. I don't know. Are not doing good in life right now.
Actually, that was my next question because I wanted to ask you, from your personal opinion, what's your stance on bullying personally? How do you feel about it?
Well, according to my experience, the experience yange, tizija to some extent imakuja ngamusa muntu, imakuja kamusa in a way kuti katulo kamata kuchoka azini kuti kuchangamuka kupanga zinthu changamuka osambapanga zinthu zopoyira iya. But then panaiti zina imaonjeza iche imafika point chokuti yomenya anthu. I remember St. Patrick's we had some guys amene amakonda usiku andawo akagona amazukirira azimu tenatozukirira azimu meaning kuti ndicho kakudomu kwanga ndingofunda chibedi chitikapena chi blanket ndipite ndikamenye munthu wina wake kudomu kwina ndipo ndati amuzukirira azimu amene amenye sakumuziwa amakhautwa atani wazipanga disguise like that. You see, so zinthu ngati zimene zonse anthu ena amapezeka zoti amavulala chifukwa ena amamenya ndi zisulo chani koma no all in all tizi machangamusa but then imene zikhandi limit. I believe anthu ena kuti sana tizideko amakhala nje kuti samakhala anthu ochangamuka kwenikweni.
That's true. Actually, I'll come in with a contrary idea, right? But it aligns to what you're saying. I don't think bullying is good because basically, if you're being bullied, it means that you're being put in this space whereby you're uncomfortable. It's it's not a good feeling because in that moment when I'm I remember my grandmother getting kaga, right? And the when kaga on a budget ya mwezi wose ndama togo za zitira amwene kaga oja half amwene half kaga oja gabe kena baguza ndibela somawa, you know. And in my figure point I remember there were moments whereby people who had a little more amapezeka kuti mwina sakubwera hostel mwajangu kuopa kuti no ndikapita ku hostel akazuzidwa akapemphedwa when they're not even comfortable in giving because there was fear. But I noticed, you know, there's a certain paradigm shift that's there. Because the reason why someone is bullying you or teasing you is because they have something over you, because there was a fear, right? And I realized most of the times that fear is because that was the biggest issue.
Exactly.
There was no other fear apart from andimania, right? So it taught me that when you look at it in theory, it means that in this moment, the people who are usually bullying are the people who are stronger than you. So it was usually the older people, right, who would be bullying the smaller, because so they were literally leveraging on their power. So now looking at the people that are bullied, I would say that, you know, it's a good experience. So bear with me. I feel like when it comes to the evolution of people, secondary school this is one of the spaces whereby people exist in their norm. Like there's no controls. We're living in a little society whereby the strongest rule. And that's what secondary school becomes. That's why Form 4s will rule the Form 1s.
Exactly.
The guys would usually hit on that guy because they knew what this guy. Of
course.
But in my opinion, don't you think that tease, like you said, doesn't it prepare people for the future? Because in the real life, are people being bullied? Maybe that's the other question.
People are bullied everywhere, even kuzinchito and mapezeka ndo anthu ena ake amangokhalira kugemulidwa umangonenedwa kumangopangidwa zinthu. It's everywhere, not only ku school. So okay, all in all, bullying is bad. Okay, even though imachangamusa anthu pali ndi bullying yake pali ena amapangira zinthu ngamolalo chabe koma not necessarily kuti akukuzunza.
Okay,
that sort of tease is it's not that bad.
Like what's an example of that?
Monga ndikuuze zoti say because ndipeke example yankaka ndikuuze ine asenda ndapfinyika komabe andi wa form 1 ndikaire nkaka like that undipase nkaka and then suti ma ndibweranso and then pina kondona kuti maybe I have my own stuff yanchani zabobo komando zije zoti every day muntu kubwera kwa zusantu ukathira mazi chani no zimezi jazonde yayi.
But I would actually disagree with you because basically for me how I'm going to define this and we can agree about it. I'm looking at bullying as someone putting you in a situation that makes you feel uncomfortable. Because for example in this kind of situation, if someone has come to me who's only been ball, that's in the getting card. I have the choice to say yes or no, right? But it's obviously most of the times in situations like bullying, you have no choice, you have no say. And like I said, there's usually a certain higher power thing that is being, you know, that they're holding on to you over. Like they're holding this
there's
little...
control.
Exactly. There's a certain control that they're holding over you, which makes you abide to this thing that you're uncomfortable with. So in the case of secondary schools, right?
Kumenya kujande not acceptable at all costs.
But that's the thing. So in that case, right, I feel like any single time that, because I'm trying to address this in the sense, we've got kids who may be watching this. They should be able to identify whether this is bullying and is it right. So my proposal would be, do we agree, you know, whenever you're put into a situation where you're uncomfortable, but the other person has got a higher power over you, and you're forced to do something that you didn't naturally want to do, can we call that bullying?
Well, it is.
Right?
It is. Because in the first place, if you know you're not comfortable with that particular thing and maybe it might be harmful to you, then that's something that is unacceptable. So
if that is the case, I think in most of the secondary schools, Vanova, they've started to reduce the amount. I think there are more controls over bullying. But we're coming on two different narratives here. That number one, bullying strengthens you because it prepares you for the future, because in life, even when you start working, like you said, people are being bullied in workplaces.
It's happening
because in those places now there's a certain person who is above them.
Yeah, and to cut you short, it's even worse Panova with the social media. People are bullied, social media now and again.
True.
So it's like it has just shifted from a school to the social media world. Chifuka umapeza zoti anthu ena kaphula kasikando kena kagende now kwatuka manudi now anthu amene aje.
Exactly.
You see now.
Yeah.
So it's like for social media, it's like everyone is just there.
Yeah.
They no siya school worker, it's everywhere. No.
I like that you brought that up.
Yeah.
I remember when I was in primary school, right?
Yeah.
Something happened, but it was one of those embarrassing things. It looked huge. And I remember to my little guy, 1 o'clock. But for that week, when I had this scandal, every single time that I would go to school, it felt like there's this weight over me, right? And imagine that I was a child, but this weight was over me, right?
It was just too much.
Yeah, it was a lot. And like you're saying, most of the times whenever people have a scandal, and if it's online, for example, then people will be trolling this person.
Exactly.
They'll be about this person.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that, man? Because for me, I mean, I feel like most of the time we don't really look at this because we're not the victims.
Yeah.
Because it's not on us. But sometimes we're just there, part of the wagon, and just watching it.
Well, for somebody who has been in a certain situation before, it's easy to understand if somebody is also experiencing that particular thing.
Yeah.
And it's like you would know the pain they are having.
Yeah.
And then timaona ma social media.
Yeah.
How ndo kuna scandal yakuti atu naye ni muntu uja. You see? Imafika no point yokuti it's just too much.
True.
And then mapezeka zote mpaka na aogaza zozipha.
Yes.
Ona. Fima amaona zote ababa sindizikwanisa anthu akunena and anthu akandiona azitijani. So that's the thing makaroti.
In your little bubble, it's you're living every day in that problem.
And Malawi don't want 1 billion bwana. True. Malawi is too small.
Actually, that's the irony. You've got a scandal, for example.
Yeah.
My assumption is so it's like you're living in that episode, in that loop.
So I think psychologically and normal castle that barari
Now I see that. I had a conversation with someone and I've come to accept Kudi. I think the biggest problem with our generation right now is we're pushing a lot of digital empathy. We're not really there for people. Because I remember someone gave an example. I was talking to an elder gentleman, woman, and he said, we're in a generation whereby people go to a funeral and timagajeza, right? But in that moment, even in a federal we're not even trying to interact with them to find out or try to understand how they're feeling. Because I feel like when you put yourself in their shoes, even though you cannot understand the pain they're going through, like you said, could you only understand when you've been through that pain, right? But when you put yourself in their shoes, it helps you understand, okay, this is what I can do for this person to feel better. So in situations like the cyberbullying you're talking about, you notice good even when you go to the comment sections, there's nobody helping this person.
It's I noticed really, especially here in Malawi, entertainment.
Exactly. Exactly.
Trend issue jani so amara entertainment so
yes.
Then you should imagine that munthu so antendere ku school kokhatu anthu muliko
zithela konko. Yes.
Then you should know kuti it's going beyond
precisely
Malawi.
Precisely.
The issue if
you feel like you don't know where to go, you can go. Exactly. So actually, that's something that I actually wanted to bring up. That I feel like these issues of bullying are actually cascading zintungari anxiety. Because in my rendition of how stress comes about, I may be wrong, but I think one day when we have a chance to talk to someone who is good in psychology, I feel like it's that moment whereby you're in a problem, right? Let's say it's a problem that started to manifest, and data was to that problem, whereby it's taking centerfold in your brain. When you wake up, you sleep, you dream. It's just it's just that problem waiting for you. And to rally back to that example I was giving you, kuti ndili mfana ndikapita kunyumba vuto lija limata ka stress kaja kamatawa because mazuwa disata kuteni kuno but imagine the kids that are in school right now, they are bullied today, or maybe but they've been embarrassed and they have to wake up in the same environment, they have to eat in the same environment.
It's really something.
So I think we should, my advice would be, maybe before I go ahead, before I push what I think should be one of the solutions for this type of problems, what do you think we should be doing as a people? Because these suicide rates, they're going up and it's becoming very alarming.
Now that you have mentioned the suicide, you have you noticed that Panova even as I got 12 akuzipa?
I've noticed that.
They are having mind yozipa kungola mwina kantwena kangochitika. Just 2 days ago mwana wangu mangochina itsikana wazaga 12 wazimangira mwana wazaga 12.
That's insane.
Wazwa kupota chingwe mpaka na mwana kuzimangira. Just a week ago mwana so wina kunzimba anazimangirira maya kata mune naso zokoza nizokumwamo. So it's like panopa mena kuzimangirira sema kula kauko. Even
it's now spreading across.
Even imagine mwana zaga 12.
Yeah. But why do you think that is the case? Like from when you look at it, why do you think that is the case? Why is there this exponential growth of suicides, even transcending to other age brackets that were not there before?
At first, I thought people are killing themselves here in Malawi for financial issues, my relationship issues. These are the two things that were dominating.
Okay.
Makaguti, family, the finances, but now, it's more than that.
Okay.
And I can't really have an answer. Why exactly are these things happening? Chifukwa, you've been in financial problems before. The same with me. But then the issue jewudi, of course, in the ganze bozo mpaka na dissipate. Tufanye mazoa bezoti. Ngati nafinyika bena bageuti ndalama imwa kuti mwakuti. Mwakutenga basi phone. Or I even call my mom. Hey, mama. Sisi libo. Tone nigena gage tukubwezerana. Okay. Chifukwa. Anthu ambiri my financial problems amene amakhala jokuti they're involving anthu akatapira.
And there's pressure because this guy is amakawuri one day coming every day, like I said. And then that's anxiety over time. This person is gonna get depressed. Stressed. So ambiri makauti katapira. Two. Zima relationship my family my issues. Ambiri makauti maybe are attached to ambiri kwa muntu, and then muntu jawa kudisa, and then they just decide to go. Kumano fikano point yokuti ndi ana omwe akuzipa. So I've got a different theory. Actually, it came up many months ago. I as much as I don't condone bullying, I feel like I understand why this generation, our generations, I think for the last 20 years, going backwards or 30 years, we have a problem with suicide. Not that suicide wasn't there before.
Yeah, it has always been there.
It's always been there. But I've come to realize there's one dominant factor, or maybe two, that are cascading together. Number one, this generation, right? We get things easily, right? We're in a generation whereby we call it instant gratification. Almost everything we need is at our fingertips, right? We want to send a message, it goes instantly. We 3 weeks, 3 weeks, malimba ntima amwe no mangu just stress kuti ndio lawa ndikana kena ku 2 weeks ujali mbaso 3 weeks sinabwere ukuti baba anzari yeah it was that. So I feel like that made people understand that good things do not come easy. And I'm a firm believer the universe works the same way, right? The sun will rise from the east and sets in the west. It's not going to change just because we have got technology now. The universe will still be the same. And I've come to realize, because of this instant gratification, we want things quickly, so we haven't created that resistance for things. So you find that most of these kids, like we're saying, they're growing in a society whereby everything is coming easy, so they expect everything to be easy.
So should we say that the kids these days are soft?
I would say the kids these days are soft. Not just these kids, even we are soft.
Our generation
is even soft, and it's worse. At least I think we had, like you said, we've been teased and we had a bit of resistance. But these kids, I feel like that resistance is not there. Because one other theory and principle that I follow truly is that just because you and I are strong enough to combat some situation, it does not mean that everybody else is going to be able to combat that situation the same way that you and I would.
Of course.
We would be in the same situation but handle it differently.
Of course.
And that's what I'm saying. When you look at it, when you look at the key, one of the key differences between us and the current generation, or even between our parents and ourselves, is the hardship that they had to go through. They had to understand that not everything is coming easy. Look at your school, like your daughter, right? For example, you have a child, I understand, right? You find that we want to create a very soft space for our children, which is not bad. But I feel like we have to also question, what are we doing to these children? Is this empowering them or making them weaker? So in retrospect, I feel like there is a certain influence from having things coming too easily with this generation, and that is coming in because of technology. There is this expectation of everything coming easily. But also I feel like there is an influence of Western media, because now, like you were saying, a 12-year-old, how does a 12-year-old
think of suicide?
Boss, how does a kid think about that? But when you look at it, it's the things that these kids are being influenced to. I mean, when you look at it in retrospect, you find that their parents but you don't even know what that kid is watching on YouTube, right?
And now that you have mentioned YouTube, I think that as parents we have to be responsible enough for our children, because there are a lot of things that are on YouTube. Okay, YouTube is wide.
That's right.
Okay, so I'm saying my parents is equally responsible in a way that we have to realize that there's kids tube.
Is it?
Strictly for kids.
Really?
Yes. Ana when I cover kids tube, not YouTube. Chifuka ba YouTube paje akakamwana watu wojanga mugo data kutaipa zinthu ata andi ba YouTube paje pamata kupanga pop up zinthu zosiyana depending on kuti ne yaso makonda jani monga ndineyo
yes
ine ni makonda UFC ni makonda slap fight championship
mastera sako ajoma kazi bhagira mwene
exactly ndizimene makonda ineyo. So if you go for ukatsegula YouTube using my account, obviously zinthu zimene uziona UFC uziona pozandiwo uzungona zinthu ngati zitizo zimenezo chifukwa ndizimene ndi matani ndi makonda kuonera. So it's not safe for mwana wanga kuti alowe pa YouTube using my account and then aziona po si SmackDown, Raw, UFC atamenya na makofi mmenepo. It's not safe for her. But then mwana mpase ni chinthu choti azitha kupanga bozo kozana ndiza age yake. So ananga trained this way kuti akupasidwa zinthu bolingana ndi age yawe, it will be better. Amaiko ena anthu amapanga zozo komano kunoko anthu we just do things anyhow. Na anthu oche pamene amapezeka zoti akuwapasana based on zinthu zimene akuyenda kulanda ndi age yawo.
So you I remember one time we were talking about this. We were talking about how social media right now, everything is very fluid. You can blow in Tanzania. And I feel like that creates that creates a feeling like you can't escape, right?
Yeah.
Could you give it away? And I feel like this is one of the reasons why people feel like they cannot run away from their problems, because cyberbullying, it becomes global. People feel like they cannot run away from it.
The thing is, with social media, the world is like
It's like an oyster. It's like
exactly, and
it's tighter. It's closer.
You might do a boundary. So I'll give you an example. Was it in 2011, 2012 when Blue Ivy was born? Jay-Z and Beyonce. Yeah. Mwana uja anapangidwa bully koopsa.
No troll, I say.
Na trend kuti mwana anthu anamunena zizosa khabwino mwachita ona kuti akuluakulu mwana anakumutwa ni chani. Mwana otongobadwa kumene koma anthu kumunena. So that's how brutal this world is. Anthu alibe nazo kuti uyu ni mwana wang'ono. Chabwino mwana yuko masuti ndi olakwa from makola again ma celebrity, and automatically she also became a celebrity. But then koma anthu anapeza kuti amunena zinthu zosakhala bwino koma ndi mwana wang'ono. Of course she's grown now, koma by then inali issue kuti no, it was just too much.
No, actually,
it was everywhere on the internet, everywhere.
But I feel like there's one element of this which I actually like that you brought, is the power of a parent.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but we can agree to disagree. But one thing I've felt and I've learned is that a parent has got the ability to make you feel like everything is going to be okay. You can have a big problem that is affecting you outside in society, but if you come back home and you tell your parent, and they'll be like, I say your life is just like basi.
As a parent, that's what you're supposed to do.
Exactly. And I feel like maybe we can say parents should really take a leading role to understand what their kids are going through, understand those cues and signals. To say, okay, what's going on? To take a leading role, because the parent saying this is fine, you're going to be okay, has got a huge impact. And I think giving an example of Jay-Z and Beyonce, right? These people knew Agula in the limelight. So they made sure that they had to create buffers and counters to make sure that this child, I believe so, to say that this child should be able to manage those things. Okay, this child will meet this, there's gonna be this thing to manage this. So that this person or this child is not affected. And you know, one of the most powerful things that I actually saw that Beyonce did is she took Blue Ivy on tour. And Banova said Blue Ivy, celebrity.
That's
the thing. But Banova katroga janka mia troga. Stage. And people are feeling her, vibing on her. And if this was orchestrated by the parents, because Banova confidence is above the roof.
So it's on another level.
And if that child had seen what people were trolling her earlier when she was younger, and she gets this massive boost in energy and confidence because of what the mother has done, I would applaud them. This is good work.
Imagine mina hama dziko lonse kumapanga bully mwana wangono kalimera jayo anakauti ndi mfano chi whatever inako. What do you think would have happened?
It's traumatic, because I mean
anakata una dziko lonse liziya kundikamba mwakuti better go. So of course I think zinthu izizi zimapanga affect anthu moyo wawo in one way or another. So ndi issue je kuti I
get that.
We are losing people every day.
So maybe like just to get your input, what do you think? Because we believe so far we've come to this place whereby we're saying bullying is becoming a chain. It's like a revolution. The bully someone, the person is bullied. In future, whereby in this situation they're being bullied because they're weak, physically weak, and then now over time, because usually the bullied are the smart ones, they start working and they start to physically or maybe mentally bully, even physically bully people in the workplace, and there are people who are actually getting traumatized to a level whereby they're committing suicide in the workplace.
It's happening.
It's really happening. So I think in your retrospect, just in a nutshell, what do you think could be a tentative solution to resolving this bullying issue that's there? Maybe a way to reduce and mitigate the bullying.
Well, in case of schools, if bullies are still there in schools, the authorities should be in charge. They should be making like some follow-ups. For most of the times, and having amaziwidwa kuti amaziwidwa kuti pa school panova watu awa ndi awa ndamene amakonda kupanga zakuti. You see, so I think my authorities, they need to do more. They need to monitor bwino ana samaope kupita ku school. I wouldn't feel comfortable kuti mwana anga azapite ku school and then azikabanga bully. I mean, as a parent, I wouldn't be okay with that. In terms of Malawian just cut off that connection you have now pamene amapanga bully. Ayamba kukuopa azina kuti adawawa sitimacheza nawo so timakupasana moni zimathera pati. So cut off that connection that is there and then hotel. That way ukabura banga control and kusangama kupeze so kubanga bully. Kakhala iziza about social media there's no proper solution unless the government should be like should have control. Telegeza ngata macrajet. I don't know ngati anga pese solution yabwino. Of course was Facebook paja and pamata ubanga report chanchani komano zimeze kuti zichosebe chani. It's a process. So pa social media abantu pamene pali vuto lalikulu chifukwa it's a wide thing. It's a wide platform. Kuti mpaka na vuto likonzedwe. Zimakhala kuti zimatenga nthawi. I'll give you an example. Pale dine again so amakhala kuphalombe anazipa and anangolemba status pa Facebook the end. Just that the end. And it's still there up to now. It's still there. That status is still there. Anangolemba the end. Muntu anakapeza kuti anakazimangira kuphira kumula nje. Status ilipo mpaka na lero. Regardless kuti anthu anaimba rest in peace chani. So I don't know kuti a Facebook waja ama chita monitors zimene zizi kuti akaona kuti mwene zama rest in peace chita erase jama account kuti mwene anthu oti mwakuti atani achose pala anthu oti anamwalira ma account alipo bendit. You see, so ndizije zoti vuto ndi ngati social media pata ukha control bwino yokuti ngati anthu opangidwa bully kuona njira yothana ndi zimene zijazo the better. Otherwise Malawian ntchito just ignore and cut off the connection you have with those school authorities basabange anthu opangidwa bully azikapanga report. That's it. I see that. Now
actually I'll come into the same kuti like I feel like personally I believe we need to create these systems and structures early in the schools. For the people who are being bullied, I believe if more people were standing up for the people being bullied, it will reduce the power that the bullying people are having, because it's usually 2 or 3 people who are bullying like a very mass number of people, right? And in that moment, like we say, these people are in a place of privilege. You give an example of someone was being bullied because they asked a simple question, and people would laugh because they're sitting in a place of privilege, because they know, right? And they'll start to laugh at this person, and maybe it will be but because they don't want to be associated to be part of the list of people, they will laugh. I'm part of But if we could, I feel like it starts with us, because if we would have more people, 2 or 3 people would stand up to say, no, that's not right, that's not fair. I feel like it would actually cut this thing off at the genesis. And I believe that if we're put in the same shoes as the people who are bullying, we'll probably do the same thing. It's just that our experience and exposure and upbringing has give us a different rendition. But I'm in the view that we have to create environments and platforms for these people so that they can be able to also share their experiences and maybe even have counseling to help them battle the issues they're having. They could be bullied at home, so I feel like we need to create a better system whereby both the person who is bullying and the person being bullied should actually they should interface and have a solution for both sides. But yeah, man, but thank you so much for your time.
Thanks for having me, man.
Anytime.
It's a pleasure.
It's always good to argue with you.
I'll have you as a guest on my podcast.
Definitely. Definitely.
Sure.
So thank you so much for spending your time and being there. We had our friend Mr. Muta today, and we've discussed a lot of issues, from the issues of bullying to suicide. And if you have got any comments on how you think bullying can be eradicated in the society or mitigated, please drop them in your comment boxes, share your views, share your ideas. so that we can actually help today's generation and the future generation as well. So you're with me, Steve, and my friend
Prince Muta. Remember to subscribe so that you have to be updated now and again the content mene bwana Steve
straight. And don't forget to like and subscribe to Muta's podcast,
The Real Issues.
There you go. All right, until next time.